Welcome everyone to One Ball State Day Live 4:15 show with Brian Meakin, the Director of Development here at the Ball State University Foundation. Pleased to be joined by Jim Lowe, who's our Associate Vice President for Facilities Planning and Management. And we are going to take a little bit of a trip back in time to see campus then and now. I've seen Jim do some presentations of these types, of this sort, and it's just so fascinating. So I'm super excited about this session. I'll be monitoring the chat, so if you do have any questions, we'll be taking those throughout the time, and we can try to interject during Jim's slide deck and during his presentation, and then of course we'll try to take some at the end as well. So Jim, without further ado, I'll turn it over to you. I think you're in control of the slide deck, and we look forward to learning all about campus then and now.
Perfect. Thank you, Brian. So, I don't do this often enough. I'm presenting it, but I don't often enough give credit to those who brought us to this point. We have a beautiful campus. It didn't happen overnight. It's happened over decades, which you'll see in this presentation. That's why it's titled Then and Now. And of recent, there's been a number of individuals, and I'm going to leave somebody out, so I'm going to apologize, but a number of individuals who have helped us move the trajectory of Ball State campus. I even go back to Joanne Gore and particularly Tom Kinghorn, who had a vision of where we're going to go with the campus, and it continues to move in that direction. And then recently with President Jeff Mearns, whose vision for the campus, not only the campus, but for the village and the whole entire community, is going to lead us into the future. So, thanks to them and others who got us to this point. We're just a person in the position today. Tomorrow there'll be somebody else, and they'll continue to move us forward. But, I often forget to thank those in my own department, my team, who make this happen every day. Those directors that help us with these projects. It's the Greg Grahams and the Kelly Knable and the Brenda Griffiths and the Mike Plantons. He's the guy who's putting all those pretty flowers out on campus and making it look beautiful. Pete Ewer and Stephanie Dodds and Jennifer Masters and Melissa Warmer. It's a great team. They're all working together to support the campus. And I thought about this presentation, and I'm sorry, I have to tell you this. What came to mind was the Sonny and Cher song, If I Could Turn Back Time. Mark, you're laughing. I see that. So today we're going to turn back time a little bit, and then we'll move forward. So I'll go to the next slide. So many of you have seen this, maybe you haven't, and some of you may not know that the first building on campus built was the administration building, built in 1899, and it was it. Everything was there, from living quarters to teaching quarters to offices. And some may or may not know that the street now named as University Avenue was at one point in time called Jarrett. So it changed to University Avenue. I just don't know what time it actually, or what year it actually changed. But the university opened and closed several times between 1899 and 1918. And thank you to the Ball brothers. You can see their names listed across the screen here. If not for them, we wouldn't be here talking today. It's their generosity that puts us in the position where we can talk about Ball State University, the past, and where we're going in the future. So thanks to them and their generosity. But they bought the campus, they turned it over to the state of Indiana, and after that point, the campus just started blooming with the addition of, Lasina Hall, Burkhart Building, North Quad, Ball Gym. They built a hospital. They built a K-12 facility in Burris. That's all we had in this particular area. We had a central plant. And for those who may not know, in this area campus was all the athletic fields. It's where they ran track and played football up to about the early 60s. So it was still in use up to that point in time. Today, it is a soccer field, and it also serves as a borehole field for our geothermal operation. So fast forward to today, we're using it as a borehole field, and the Ball brothers came here to drill for gas. There's some similarities there. So moving forward, So moving from the 30s into the 50s, the campus started to explode in terms of size, particularly in the South Quad area. The administration building still there, the Burkhart building, Lasina. But we see now the growth of the first section of the Student Center. Elliott Hall is built in memory of one of the Ball brothers' son who died, I think, in an airplane accident. We now have Ball Gym with a pool. That pool was added by the WPA project in the 30s. That's how it was funded, as was Fine Arts. Fine Arts was a WPA project, and that's what helped contribute to building that facility. The Applied Technology building was built, but back in the day, for those who may not know, it was called Practical Arts and Industrial Arts. And then we changed it, combined it, made it the Applied Technology building. And in front of that building, where Teachers College sits today, were Army barracks. They were everywhere around Muncie. I'm going to show you another location where we had Quonset huts, but we had them at this location. We also had them down where CVS is located at Jackson and Tillotson. And let me go back here. So Elliott Hall, I forgot to mention, used to sit right here. That building, for those who may not know it, set there, is now in front of Burris. It serves as the offices for the academy. And at some point in time, it was converted to, you got it, the Alumni Center. And that's where all the folks from the Alumni Center were located, until which time we built the new facility in 1997 or thereabouts. And because we moved it, repositioned and reused it, we received a Stokoe Award in whatever that year is. I can't read it, but I think it was 2015 or whatever. It's blocking my view. But today, you have this beautiful building. So that was then is now. So beautiful building on the north side of campus. So yet another back in time, as we're growing in the 50s and the 60s, you can see a number of university or a number of residence halls were built with Woodworth Hall, Doherty, Neuer, and La Follette way out here. And I think the reason La Follette was built out here is because we had the land, not in this particular area, but we had the land here, so we built La Follette. At that time, we built, in that basic time frame, we built Irving Gym. And we'll come back to this little building right here in a moment. If Gary Vance is on here, he's going to smile because I'm going to talk about the architecture building. But you can see Teachers College was built. Another maybe not known fact, this building here, which is used by CAP for building different projects, was the print shop at one point in time. But prior to that, it was actually a milk barn. So it was a milk barn, and down in here was a farmhouse where the farmer walked the cattle all the way down through here, milked, and came back. Now you know how the cow path got its name. And we continue to use that. Matter of fact, as we're building out the pathway all the way up north, we are going to label it the cow path to keep that legacy going. So this is for Gary Vance, if he's out there. The architecture building was in this facility back in the 60s, the Quonset huts, left over from Navy barracks and so forth, that were located at a spot just south of Llewellyn Pool. This is Llewellyn Pool. And it wasn't until 1970 that we constructed the first section of the architecture building. In 1980, we added on. So now I'm going to show you some before and after photos, back to back. This, hopefully you can get your bearings, is a view of all the athletic fields that are out by Tillotson and McGalliard. This is the football stadium. This is the track. You can see ball diamond, softball diamond. You don't see the Alumni Center. That little spot right there is a barn. That's where UPD used to house their horses when they had horses. They went around campus on those. This is Northside Middle School. So it kind of gives your bearings of what was going on at that moment out in this location. Today, it looks like this. So remarkable donor-based projects here with what we've done with Schumann Stadium, with the Vinderley Conference Room, Conference Center, and then the indoor practice facility. The contributions here Well, these facilities would not be here had it not been for the donor bases. And you can see the Alumni Center right here at this location. So, I mean, a lot has changed out here, including the soccer fields, and field hockey is located out here as well. So I know this is a little blurry, but this was an aerial view I found of North Campus, the North neighborhood. You can see La Follette, or what was La Follette in the day. This is actually Johnson A or Johnson West. It's been called that many different things or different titles. This is Johnson B. It is the 9-story structure. And you can see this was at one point in time Carmichael Hall, which was a dining facility. It is gone, been demolished, as is a good portion of La Follette. And all that, including rerouting McKinley, made way for this. So you can see we now have a Northwest Hall. We have a North Hall, renovated one of the Johnson buildings, the other Johnson building, built a new dining facility, tore down all but one wing of La Follette, and that wing will be removed this summer, and in its place, we will build a green space here. We will use a lot of the limestone features that we salvaged for seating area here, and we will name on the limestone pieces the halls that used to be in this building, so we can have a memorial of what used to be in that large 1,900 bed behemoth facility. So that is coming this summer. So this is probably one of my most favorite photos. So, you know, when I got here in late 80s, it was a horrible streetscape. So this was McKinley, where I'm here, this curb cut. That was actually Berwyn coming in out of Westwood neighborhood. So it extended into McKinley. McKinley looked like a three-way highway. It was helter-skelter. There was no design features. It was dangerous. People would just cross anywhere. People would just pull up anywhere and stop. And it just didn't connect what was the center or the east side of campus to the west side of campus, because we started to grow to the west side of campus. Well, today you have this. So I got to ask, do you like that or do you like that? Well, I kind of like this a whole lot better. And it's by virtue of, again, donations, the Schaefer Tower, donations from, or a contribution from a federal transportation bill that allowed us to do McKinley, that we have what we have today. So we continue to progress the campus in that direction. This is what I would call the East Quad location of campus. This is Riverside, Ashland, the village is down here. This is Circa Hall. This is the Ball Honors House, donated to the university by the Ball family. This was at one point in time Martin Street, extended up to Riverside. And then up here, to get your bearings, this was Inman parking structure. This is Pruis. And these are a couple of those residence halls, which I noted earlier. And this is Dick Street's over here. Well, today it looks like this. So we were able to acquire property, build the health professions building, the foundation science building. We're building out this East Mall. It's built out all the way up to the Multicultural Center, which is located here. This summer, we will build what we call phase 4 of the East Mall, all the way up to the dock of the Weidinger building. And in the summer of 23, we will finish out the East Mall all the way up to the Joe Aguilar Rec Center. This dirt spot right here is the spot for the new Brown Family Amphitheater, which I have a couple of photos of here for you. We repurposed the garage over here at New York Avenue. So you can see the remarkable changes that have taken place in this area, including at this location right here, a gateway coming out of the village into the campus that makes a remarkable statement as you come into campus. It's going to look like this. Matter of fact, this has been built. I've got a photo of this particular feature, and we're underway with constructing the water feature that will be ready in the May 1st of June. So we can celebrate this being finished. And thank you to Patrick Alterdice for his donation to help us build that. So again, I can't thank the donors enough. They make my job easy and they give us something to do. So anyway, we enjoy it. But today, this is what it looks like. And I can't wait for the water feature to be finished and the fence to be located here. But at night, I don't have a night view of this. It is phenomenal coming out of the village, walking through this area. And I noticed the other day on a warm day, it is amazing the number of faculty and students that are walking this particular portion all the way out to the Multicultural Center to travel north and south into campus. And you can see with that, we're going to incentivize a lot of traffic into the village when we start developing the village area. So back to the Brown family amphitheater, get your bearings. This is Bracken Library, Pruis Hall. We have the Multicultural Center, which is tucked up in here, right there. This is Pruis Hall, excuse me. This is the Grand Lawn. This is where we're building the Multicultural Center. And we like this location because it incentivizes a lot of student activity through here. It could be a location where the students just pop up and start whatever event it might be. They might jump up on the stage and start a session. I can see my good friend Bernie Hanna coming back with Sarah, his wife, and sitting up there and doing a Scottish session. He'll just have a blast doing that. But this is going to incentivize a lot of activity at that location. And it's going to look like this. So thanks to the Charlie Brown family for their donation. This is going to be a fabulous facility here. So then some of the newer projects of recent included the Health Professions Building, thanks to the state of Indiana for funding that $64 million project. The Foundational Sciences Building, as you all may know, we cut the ribbon on it last fall. Another $80-some million facility. It is fabulous. If you have time to get on campus, go through those two facilities. They are just terrific. And yet to come and underway is the Cooper Science Building. To get you oriented, this end of the building is where the planetarium is located. I'm looking northwest. This is the Cooper Life section. This is the current nursing section that'll be repurposed and a lot of transparent glass installed so you can look out into the quad. And what you notice here, it ends. That's because we're going to tear down the Cooper physical side of the structure. And in its place out here, we're going to create outdoor learning space, kind of a terraced area for fall and spring when faculty want to go out and teach out in that location. Also underway, another donor-based project is the Dr. Joe Reiner Greenhouse Education Classroom Edition, a phenomenal, really great facility housed next to Christie Woods. It has some solar power. We've got a rain storage basin here. It overlooks into the Christie Woods. Just going in there and sitting and looking out in Christie Woods could be a great way to spend a Sunday afternoon and just kind of relieve the stress a little bit. But, you know, what do all these changes have in common? They've all been guided by master plans. So I tell folks that it started back in the 22 time period with the Lowry plan. I also like to joke about it and say it's the Lowry plan, not the Lowry plan. But anyway, it's progressed over the years. And we just recently in December got approved the update of the 15 plan, making it the 2021 master plan. And I think for the last few slides, I just want to share what's been going on. Over $400 million worth of projects in the last 7 years, if not close to $500 million. And I want to point out the donor. It doesn't get done if we don't have donor base. And it helps us progress in a lot of different ways. Without that, we can't do all that we're doing. And we're thankful for what we're able to do with the donors and their contributions. And my last slide is just to say the sun sets. I just had to leave you with a pretty picture. The Ball State story will continue. I love that view. That was actually Bonita Springs, Fort Myers Beach. But anyway, I'll stop there. Ready for questions.
Jim, we did have a question on the Brown Family Amphitheater. Do we have an anticipated opening date as of yet?
Yeah, we're moving forward with the anticipated completion date of right before the winter break. But imagine as we get into the fall, if we're too far into the fall, the actual landscaping will likely carry over into the spring semester of 22-23. But you will see at the end of this year a finished stage amphitheater. It's just the landscaping takes a little bit of time to establish.
And then another question, Jim, do you have any favorite upcoming projects that you've been working on or that may be on the horizon that you're excited to start working on?
Well, I'd have to say the village. So
Yeah.
you all heard, and we announced at the March 25th board meeting, the MOU with the developer Fairmont. But when you think about what they're going to invest in our community, $100 million, almost $100 million on 5 sites that we have control of in the village. And the fact that one of those sites south of the McKinley parking garage will include a hotel, retail space, a thematic restaurant, and a performing arts center. The Performing Arts Center will be phenomenal. It will move the theater and dance program even to higher levels, along with, we hope, will be renovation of some of the spaces they're currently in. And then they will be able to expand their programs, or not expand their, but their student base. Right now, they're limited by the space they have. But that which is coming up in the village is going to be a game changer at that location of campus.
We had a question about Cooper, but I'll get to that in just a second. So back to the new village, do we know what parking situation may be down there, or is that still too early in the planning?
Yeah, we're working on the parking question. That is a good question. We anticipated that. We're looking at a combination of our facilities. We're looking at a combination of what they might build, being in Site 2, which is a site on the southeast corner of McKinley and University Avenue. But I will point this out, and I think patrons who are coming to Emmons are learning more and more about this. After 7 o'clock of an evening and on weekends, all the areas of campus that are called red permits are open for free parking. And I see that when we come to an Emmons event, the McKinley parking structure is heavily used. And then all our surface parking, so all the parking in and around, what would I say, the student center, particularly because there's a lot of parking there, is open after 5 o'clock of the evening. And when you add those number of spaces up, it's 1,500 to 2,000 spaces. So we feel for those who will participate in the village, predominantly of an evening and on weekends, parking will be available.
Great, thank you. Back to Cooper real quick. What's the timeline on Cooper and kind of an estimated completion date when that would be finalized?
Well, think of it as 2 phases. Phase 1 is underway. That includes renovating the old Cooper Life nursing sections. Sometime in 2023, we will then turn our attention to phase 2, which is work in what would be the old Cooper physical section, or the east section, that will start the process of lopping that section of the building off or demolishing it. And you can see with the transparency we're building into the old nursing section, it'll include going back and doing a little bit of work on the old nursing section. Our schedule indicates that sometime in the 2024 timeframe, you will see a finished product.
Okay. Another question here. Back during just a few months ago during Winter College, there was a vision about Miller and Cap, both of those buildings, having some sort of renovations or updates. Is that in the master plan here upcoming?
It is. So our master plan will include all projects that we envision moving forward in the future. They have a place order, whether they're near, mid, or long term. And the opportunity with the CAP project, which is a wonderful idea, is trying to find an opportunity for donor base to bring those 2 facilities together. So for the person who asked, they're probably aware that what the attempt to do is, and I think it's a great idea, is, we're going to renovate CAP. We hope to renovate CAP, but provide a connector building that connects CAP with the College of Business to collaborate almost like what the College of Health is doing by bringing in social works and nursing and so forth. They cross over one another for cross training. So when you think about health, both mental and physical is being worked on. Here, with what they're trying to do with College of Business and the architecture building, is those who become principals at architectural firms then get to experience crossover into the business side of the aspect, so they can go run a business. And I laugh, and I'm not sure I should say this, but we visited Jim Davis, and I think Mark was there. And we visited Jim Davis, and he said, I didn't realize, and I wanted to be an artist, and he was a great artist, and he did wonderful things, but he said, I forgot about the business side of things. And I wish I would have picked up some business savvy. But anyway, so that's a good point. I mean, if you're going to get into running a business, it doesn't hurt to cross over in that College of Business. So anyway.
For sure.
Yeah.
So we have a question about Teachers College. What, if any, changes or updates have been made there, or are there any on the horizon for the Teachers College?
So in 2013, many people will know that we renovated that facility. What we may not have done a good job of is to give it the transparency that we have in the new buildings we're building today. So I've addressed that. We will work hard on trying to figure out how to bring focus to the entrances and bring transparency into the building so that you can see it from the outside, you can see what's going on. And so we have work to do, and we will do that. It could be it's glass, it could be it's lighting, it could be a number of things that starts to bring you from the outside into the building, like we're doing with all our buildings. So if you look at our recent buildings, there's transparency. It lights it, it's a beacon. So we want to make Teachers College a beacon. We just have to figure out how to get there.
Yeah. One of the things I'm curious about, and I don't know if we have any data or anything, like as we look at the East Mall and kind of the walking and biking path, that runs parallel to McKinley, do we know how much foot and bike traffic that will pull off of McKinley? I mean, are we talking about a pretty significant number, or do we have an idea?
We hope it's a significant number. Because you remember in the day when McKinley was just an opportunity, because there were so many students, faculty using the sidewalks on both sides, crossing at the scramble light, crossing where they could because they were in a hurry. But now that you have another opportunity where you could ride a bike, you could just stop and sit. We're going to have seating. You could walk that path and not be confronted with vehicles.
Yeah.
I believe over time, once that knowledge is out and we connect all the way up to the Joanne Gore Rec Center, it will be heavily used, particularly with the incentive, what we're doing in the village. That will probably be the point of travel preferred.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sure. Another question. Any other campus beautification opportunities, maybe similar to what the gates are on the south end, doing something like that on the north end, anything with a traffic circle? I know there's been some talk about a Peace Plaza, anything of that nature that you can speak.
Yeah, so a good question. We are moving forward with phase 4 and 5 of the East Mall. We're able to add a number of features if there are those who want to add seating or other features that we've already talked about to folks who might be interested in doing so, and including the Peace Plaza, which is projected to be located just east of the bell tower. That I think right now in particular with what's going on overseas is a place where you can just assemble folks and just have a conversation. There are a number of things you can do at a particular Peace Plaza location like that. But back to the traffic circle, it's interesting that's brought up. I ran into Eric Ernstberger, who's with REA, in the grocery store Saturday morning. And he said, when are we going to put some type of artwork in the middle of that traffic circle? And I said, well, Eric, when you write us a check, we'll go ahead and build whatever you want at that location. That tree's kind of small. And I said, it's small for a purpose because we're waiting for somebody to say, go. We'll take the tree out and build this piece of art that introduces you to the campus. But that's why it's designed that way. It's a focal point coming into the campus in many different directions. And as you turn, you also see the bell tower. But those are two viable locations along with the East Mall that we really want to focus on.
Well, we've had a lot of great comments, especially during your slide show, Jim, and just about how beautiful campus is and just how much they've appreciated this information, and kind of looking back, seeing, kind of back in the day and how the growth has happened. So kudos to you and everyone that's been involved. And thank you so much for sharing these photos and the information with us today. I think we're right up on time. And I think this was just so good. I don't see any other questions in the chat. So thank you all so much for joining us here this afternoon. Jim, thank you for your time and for the information. Have a great last 7+ hours of your One Ball State Day, everyone. And let's finish strong out there. So hope to see you around campus and at other potential virtual events that will finish out the day. So thank you so much for joining us. And thank you again, Jim.
Thank you, Brian. Thank you all. Be well.